Welcome back to Caelesti. In today's update, version beta 14, we're going to be going over a lot of changes to do with sounds in the game. Admittedly, this is one of the smaller updates for Caelesti so far, but the sounds are obviously a big deal, and some of these do take a lot of time and effort to produce properly, so I figured it was time for a release update now as well, because we have a number of cool new features in the pack, some of which are actually community suggested as well, so we're going to be getting to some of those in just a moment. But for the start of today's video, we're actually starting off in Biome Textures v2. This is the test world that I showcased in my previous video by Toxtier, that allows people like myself to view all of the biome-based textures and mobs in the game, and trust me, we'll be using this more in the future, especially when we start to work on some mobs in a future video. Yes, we're gonna do mobs soon, because I miss doing mob textures. Mob textures are fun. But yeah, first of all, I wanted to show you how this map has actually really benefited me first. So you may have remembered, if you watched that showcase video of this Toxtier's biome texture world, that I actually showed off these logs and used these as an example of the biome-based textures. Now, when we made the color map update, I made an effort of adding, quote-unquote unique trees to the game by basically recoloring their appropriate leaves. So you can see here they're kind of a bit more blue as opposed to the more greeny leaves that we have over here, and also recoloring the logs very slightly so they look a little bit different. Now, I say very slightly, obviously the weirwood logs are a bit weird and a bit controversial, but I like them, so we're gonna leave them for now. But yeah, as you can see here, we have these kind of like blue pine logs. Now, blue pine logs, in my opinion, look really nice. Maybe not for building. It's a bit of a shame that you can't really build in a snowy biome, but who builds in a snowy biome anyway? So I kind of like the look of these, And to be honest with you, people who complain about features like this, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. I know that makes me sound like one of those people who's like, well, you don't have to use it if you don't want to, so just stop complaining and leave. No, obviously everyone is always welcome to give their feedback on features they think are good and bad. For me personally, I like this feature. I have designed this pack entirely around my preferences and what I would use this for, and if I was ever going to build a base in Minecraft, A, I wouldn't build a base in a snowy biome. B, if I did build something in a snowy biome, it would never be built on a boundary, so you would never get this problem. So basically, I can't really see how this would ever actually impact you, having a differently colored log. And even better, actually, one thing I realized when I was looking at this, if you were to strip these logs, they're the same. That's really cool in my opinion. Like the idea that only the bark on the outside is actually the changed texture. On the inside, they're the same. And it's kind of like, in this sense, it's kind of like a thing about humanity. Like on the inside, we're all the same. We're all just the same. We're all the same meat sack. So yeah. But yeah, as you can see here, we have the different pine logs. Now, what was an issue in previous versions of Caelesti is these fully sided bark logs, whatever they are. I believe these are actually called. Yeah, so that's called a log, and that's called wood. I don't like that. We're gonna change that as well, because in my opinion, this should be called wood and this should be called bark, because it's like bark on all six sides. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But basically, the way that the CTM was working is it was changing the tile for the side texture, but not changing the tile for the top texture. So I've simply added a new line for the CTM, and now it will work correctly. So every time you have these logs which have all covered sides in a snowy biome, they will have all six sides be the blue pine texture. And this applies to all the variant logs that we have. I believe we have some red ones here. Yeah, these are the red ones. Like, what biome is this? Giant Tree Tiger Hills, perfect, yeah. So this is the regular pine, this is the regular spruce tree wood right here, and this is the red spruce tree wood. So we have actually all of them quite nicely put together as well. So we have obviously the regular one here, the blue one here, and the red pine wood here. Obviously, the red one is a really, really tiny difference, but when you're actually in a redwood biome, it does make a huge difference, and I think it looks really, really good. And the same thing has been applied to the weirwood logs. So again, whenever a dark oak tree was in a cold biome, and again, how cool is this? Like, if you were to shave these things, it's the same. It's the same on the inside. So if you want to have a dark oak log texture, just shave it, I guess. I don't really know. It's a weird one, but I don't really know how to justify this, but I just like it. I just think it looks good. That's my only excuse, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, same thing applies. So originally in Caelesti v0.13 or beta 13, the top side texture of these logs was the same as the regular ones, and that was obviously an issue, so that's been fixed now properly as well. And again, same thing applies to the oak wood logs. This is oak, isn't it? Yeah, so we have the cherry oak logs down here, and I believe we also have the dull oak logs somewhere. Where are those? Wait, is this dull oak? Is this a... No, that's birch forest. There should be a savanna biome somewhere. I think it's these. Yeah, that's the one, isn't it? So savanna oak logs are going to be a bit more grey and a bit more light. Yeah, there you go. So again, same issue was applying to the top side textures of the log texture, and now it's been fixed. So there you go. So once again, if you haven't checked out the video that I made recently of Toxtier's Showcase World, it is a really cool tool for resource pack creators like ourselves. So if you want to go check it out, feel free to check my previous video before this one, and you should get a good idea of what this world is. Although it's pretty obvious, it's just, columns of biomes and rows of every single thing in the game. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, without further ado, we'll move on to some of the more juicy things in this update. So moving on with some other features, we have some changes to sounds in Caelesti. Some of you will realize it is possible to change sounds with the resource pack, and there's some quite amazing things that you can do. In Sker, we had some interesting references. For example, Enderman sounded like Slenderman, and it was terrifying. I'm kind of debating whether or not we want to have stuff like that in Caelesti, because I am aiming to make the pack entirely content created by me. So maybe we'll try and make something which is equally as spooky and scary as a Slenderman sound effect, but not Slenderman. That sounds like a challenge, because I'm not good at sound design yet, but I'm trying to get there. I'm teaching myself little skills all the time with these things. So yeah, first of all, speaking of, we have a new sound effect for the beacon. Now, in a video previously, I believe it was 2 videos ago, I actually did a showcase of me exploring some of the sounds from Minecraft Dungeons. Now, I must clear up some confusion. In that video, I was acting as though the pool of sounds that I had been provided with were the entire new set of sounds that were in Minecraft Dungeons. I was saying things like, the beacon only has a power-up and ambient sound effect, so I would imagine in the Minecraft Dungeons storyline, you never power off the beacon, and therefore there doesn't need to be a power-off sound effect. Boy, I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. So turns out I was incredibly misinformed, and the sounds that I was actually sent for that video were actually just a small collection of sounds that someone had already picked out from the total 3,700 plus sound effects in Minecraft Dungeons, which, looking at it now, makes a lot more sense. I don't know why an entirely new game, would have like 50 sound effects. Obviously not. So there are a lot of sound effects to go through in Minecraft Dungeons. The conclusion that I can really give you there is that there are going to be a lot more sound updates in the future, a lot of which are after I've taken the time to explore a lot of sound files. Now, the beacon in Minecraft Dungeons sounds exactly the same as the vanilla Minecraft beacon. I'm sure you're thinking, what's this new sound effect then that we've got for the beacon that I showed last time? I don't know, is the true option. I honestly don't know. Someone else who provided me with these sound effects decided that this was a good sound effect for the beacon. I do completely agree, but unfortunately I don't know what the sound effect originally was meant for in Minecraft Dungeons. It is from Minecraft Dungeons, but it's just not the beacon sound effect. And that is a good thing, surprisingly, because it means there might actually be some sort of power down sound effect that we can use that would fill in the gap of the power down sound effect. However, for now, I've actually gone to the, I've gone to the trouble of making a new sound effect myself for the power down thing. So let's just hear it, shall we? Let's go right into it. So nice. I love that sound effect. Like, again, I feel kind of like cheated that isn't the beacon sound effect, and I was wrong, but at the same time, I agree. It's a really good beacon sound effect, so I'm fully okay with using this thing for the beacon sound effect going forward. It's not exactly a bad thing at all. Now, the only thing to keep in mind with this is that, again, if we do discover any more additional sound effects that fit this trend, we could actually use that sound effect for the power down sound, but for the time being, I have created my own original one, so you can get an idea of what that sounds like just now. So it's a slight change. It uses the vanilla Minecraft power down sound effect, and then also adds on an additional kind of sound effect there, which is actually the how do I describe? I'm not very good at sound design, so I'm using all the wrong terms here. But basically, there's kind of like a wow 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 sound effect in the power up sound. Like I'll just show it. So it's like that, like the sound effect that happens after it kind of finishes the power on sound effect. That is actually still a part of the power on sound effect, even though the effect sounds like it's kind of finished. So basically, I took that kind of like wow 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 sound effect and then discovered this new technique actually, which is called I believe it's called like a time track or something like that. So you can effectively manipulate the passage of time over a period of time. It's very cool, but basically, if you listen carefully for it, it sounds like the sound effect is slowly slowing down, even though it doesn't like ever come to a complete standstill, obviously. So if you listen to it, it sounds like the sound is like tapering off. So I'll show you one more time. So it's like whoa 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 whoa. You know, it sounds like a machine powering down, and I really like that. I think it sounds awesome. So, yeah, beacon sound effect. I might just keep that, to be honest. I do like it, and I put a lot of effort into that second sound effect for the power down sound. So, yeah, maybe we'll just keep this thing. So, yeah. Moving on from that, we have new sounds for the chainmail armor. So I'm going to show these off just now. So we've got 4 variants of the chainmail armor. We might hear them all. We might not. So pretty sexy. I like, you know, I think it sounds good. So these chainmail sounds are taken directly from Minecraft Dungeons. I have actually checked the sound files for these ones in particular just because they were conveniently named. And these actually are the chainmail equipped sound effects for Minecraft Dungeons. So I'm actually using these sounds correctly, basically, which is really nice. So we're not doing this bit wrong, at least. That's a slight improvement. Yeah, I do like these sounds. They sound really, really fitting for the chainmail armor. They sound kind of like the kind of like flowing metal chain texture, which is kind of loose that you would expect. And I do think it sounds really good. So I just think it sounds really good. 4 different variants for that sound effect, and I think all of them do sound very, very good. Now, moving on with some classic sound effects, I've actually done a file tidy up now, so these sounds will come under a new category called classic. But yeah, you can hear the door sound effect here, so it's awesome. I love it. So I am a nostalgia freak, unfortunately. I am, yes, I am boomer. So basically, I played Minecraft as early as 2010, which is crazy. I think about that a lot, actually. I've been playing this game for a hell of a long time now. I believe I bought it first in, was it November? I bought my account in November something in 2010, I believe. So I have been playing Minecraft for a hell of a long time. And things like this are really exciting for me. Like, this kind of sound effect is awesome. I think it sounds awesome. It's not really that awesome. It's actually kind of a crap sound. But I just hear it and my brain just goes, oh, nostalgia. Oh my God. Yeah, I also just kind of like the reference to old school Minecraft, and I just think it sounds really nice for me personally. You might not be a nostalgia freak, but I am. So I'm making this for me. So sorry guys. But yeah, old, new, old, new, 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 old, new, new. Yeah, so you get the idea. So it's a 50-50 chance on whether or not it will play the old school sound effect or the new sound effect. In total, there are, I believe, 6 closing sounds for each for a total of 12, and 4 opening sounds for each for a total of 8. So there are now 20 sound effects for all of the 6 wooden doors. And I've actually got the iron door here just to mention that the iron door has not been affected. So iron doors basically just still sound like the kind of still metallic clangy sound with the more modern sound effects. So basically, wooden doors will occasionally, 50% of the time, sound old school, and I like, and metal doors will not. That's kind of the conclusion that you get from that. So moving on from that, we have some mobs. We have the chicken, the pig, and the spider. Now again, if you watched the previous video, you will already know what's about to come, but yeah, chicken sound effects, very, very drastic. It's yeah, they sound very weird. Again, I might revert this one. But for the time being, I really like this. Especially the death sounds, which sounds really bad, but I like the death sounds. The pigs are just the death sounds, weirdly enough. So chickens have 5 new sounds. They have 3 sounds labeled as say, which is their kind of like passive sound effect that they're playing right now, and then 2 sound effects for the death. And that was one of them right there. So pigs have all the regular default sounds, but when they die, they make the kind of really high-pitched squeal that you hear. So there you go. It's kind of, it just sounds more realistic in my opinion. I think it's better, and I think I just like it, you know? And again, like, the news that we have not discovered the whole pool of sound effects here is actually really, really good, because it means that there might be cool sounds I can use for the cow, or for the sheep, or for anything else. And I'm going to, at some point, have a look through all the sounds properly and see if we can pinpoint any cool new sound effects that we could use in the same manner we're using here. But also spiders. I love the spider sound effects. In fact, I think I could very easily say these might be some of my favorite sound changes in the entire thing. They sound incredible. I love it. It's so cool. It seems so much more fitting for the spider. And to be honest, like, this makes me think that Minecraft needs a Jappa update for sounds. Like, you know, we went through the whole drastic texture changes in Minecraft 1.14 for, you know, the transition from classic style textures, which are now known as programmer art, to the, you know, Jappa style textures. I think we need a sound update. This game is direly in need of a sound update. And this is the kind of thing we want, in my opinion. I just think it sounds amazing. It's so good. And obviously, it's obviously worth noting as well that those same sound effects do apply to the cave spider as well. So you'll hear more realistic spiders whenever you are doing pretty much anything now as well. Again, those ones are subject to change, especially the chicken. I actually tried adding all the chicken sound effects as rare variants of the original ones, but it just sounded really dumb because it didn't sound like different chicken sounds. It just made the chickens sound like they were a completely different species of animal. So it didn't work, unfortunately. So it's all or nothing, trust me. Any feedback on those is hugely appreciated. I would like to get your guys' feedback as always. So yeah, leave a comment below if you like the sound effects or if you don't. I'll be happy to find out. Moving on from that, we have custom sounds for the bow, and I actually should have put some more things here because there are a few other things worth noting. If I get some few other objects as well. Now, this was one of the coolest things I discovered in Skir, actually, the fact that you could redirect sound paths to play different sound files. Now, the way Minecraft works originally is they are very, very, I don't know if efficient's the word, but they're very efficient on the way that sound files work. So there are a number of sounds in the game that all use the exact same throw sound effects. So you, for example, you have things like the egg, sounds like that. You have things like the snowball, sounds like that. And that applies to things like ender pearls and potion effects, I believe, as well, and a number of other things as well. And in the original versions of Minecraft, this applied to the bow and the dispenser and the dropper and a few other things. Now, I actually have the nostalgia thing, as you know there, and I actually really like the old school bow sound effect. So that's the old school bow sound effect. We have the new hit sound effect from Minecraft Dungeons, because I do like that. But as you can see there, bows sound very, very strange. Now, to some of you, that probably sounds really weird. To some of you, that probably sounds like I'm being a boomer, because I am being a boomer. I'm really enjoying this. But basically, I think the bow sound effects were better before. I think they sounded much more powerful, and I think they sounded more like a bow. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think throwing an egg and firing a bow should sound the same. So I just like the idea of having two different sound effects for these things. And of course, given that the dispenser uses a bow, it actually uses the same sound effect as well. So you can hear the same thing there. Pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. And obviously, as you've been hearing there, the bow sounds do actually have, the arrow sounds have a new sound whenever they hit some sort of surface as well. So you can hear that. And honestly, hearing that now, it is a little bit loud. And I think I'm probably going to make an effort of making that a bit quieter because it's a little bit over the top right now. But we are going to be going with that sound because I think it's a much more realistic sound. The kind of like vibrating sound effect that you get after it hits a block sounds like the arrow is kind of like, you know, still wobbling from all the motion that it had before it landed in the block. Like, you know, it matches the kind of wobble of the arrow after it lands in a block. I think it looks and sounds really, really convincing. I think it looks really good. So that is a bit loud. I'm probably going to reduce the volume of that one, but again, I think it is a massive improvement. Now, as mentioned in the Minecraft Dungeons video, I did want to change the Minecraft Dungeons bow sound to be the crossbow sound in vanilla. So you can see there, it's kind of a more interesting sound effect. It sounds a little bit strange. Like, it sounds... I think the weirdest part about this is I've been trying to figure out if this is working or not, because at some stage in the past few days, I tried to get the crossbow sound effect to work. Turns out my JSON file for the sounds directory was broken, so it wasn't even working correctly. And then when I did get it working correctly, it was so close to the vanilla sound that I still can't really tell if it's working or not. Like, I think it's new. I think it is, anyway. I think it is. I don't even know. I think that one's changed. I think it hasn't. I think there might be a bit of a problem with the crossbow. It seems to be acting very inconsistent, if nothing else. That is a little bit strange. Now, finally, for the last change I want to show you guys, I have made some huge changes to the Ghast sound effects. I'll get myself a Ghast spawn. I probably should have set that up beforehand. Now, some of you remember in Minecraft Dungeons, actually, in the showcase video from the previous episode. What the heck? Oh yeah, shit. I was doing something here before. So in the previous update for, in the previous Caelesti video with the Minecraft Dungeons sound effects showcase, there were a number of really cool Ghast sound effects that we used there, and I thought they sounded really good. Now, my only problem with those is that they didn't work with the other Ghast sound effects. So like the Ghast death sound effect, the firing sound effects, they didn't really work. Now, I took one of the original Ghast sound effects, so one of the original, Moan 7 or whatever it was, and the new Moan sound effect from the Minecraft Dungeons edits, and basically tried to compare them and apply filters and adjust the original one until it sounded as close to the Dungeons sound effect as possible. And I really, really like the result. Ghasts sound amazing now. So shout out to Chroma, it was your idea to add any sort of reverb and echo to the Ghast sound effect in the nether, and it adds so much immersion. It's incredible. Listen to this. love that one. It's like my favorite sound. The echo, dude. The echo, I love it. All the sounds match. Like, they all fit. It's mad. Like, I didn't realize how, like, the different sounds from Dungeons and Vanilla, they actually do fit together once you've applied this filter to the vanilla sounds. I think it sounds incredible. Is he stuck in lava? Such a weird bug. They need to fix that. But yeah, I just think it sounds amazing. Like, Ghast were already terrifying, but this, it sounds like we have a mod installed. You know, like, this is the kind of thing that you hear if you have, like, dynamic surroundings and, like, you know, reverberance mob and stuff like that. So the mods that add, like, reverb to sounds based on surroundings and situation. This is what it sounds like. But this is just a static sound. This is what it sounds like all the time. Obviously, the effect is kind of broken if you're in the overworld, because they will still echo like crazy, even though you're not in a massive cave. But when are you ever going to see a Ghast in the overworld unless you're getting that weird achievement? You know, it's barely ever going to happen. So it's worth it. I love it, dude. It fits so well. I think it's amazing. Anyway, game mode. Survival? Someone get annoyed at me, please. Hello? Did he just despawn? I think he did. Okay. Hello. Do a thing. Can he, like, not see me? What's going on? There we go. Echo. 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 The explosion doesn't have echo because it's close to you. You know, it sounds good. Oh. Ugh. Yeah. Oh. Have I seriously never killed a Ghast before in this world? Never mind. But yeah, you get the idea. So basically, Ghasts are very, very reverby now and very echoey, and I think it sounds incredible. So, yeah. So if you want to check out how I did that, I actually took every single sound the Ghast makes, including the unused affectionate scream or whatever, affectionate moan or whatever it is, and basically applied a number of filters to it that basically increase the length of the track and reverb the sound effect to a certain amount that matches up with the kind of habitat that you'll find in the Nether, and then apply it to all of them. And the result of doing that is, what I've effectively done is, what I believe the Minecraft Dungeons team will have done is they took the Ghast sound effects, or maybe even made new ones, and they applied a specific set of filters and changes to them to get them to sound the way they do, and as a result of doing that, they ended up with these sound effects. So I've kind of reverse engineered the Ghast sounds and made it so that we can use the new 7 sounds from Dungeons alongside the old 7 sounds from Vanilla. So now the Ghast moan effect is now 14 different sounds as opposed to 7, and they all match, they all fit. Like, they don't sound out of place next to each other, they just all sound like they're all part of the same category, and I love that. I think it's incredible. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This is the first time Caelesti will be available on CurseForge primarily. Last update, version 0.13, was actually available on Discord and CurseForge because I was setting up the CurseForge page in preparation for this video. But basically, because we're now adding sounds to the pack, it's going to exceed that 8 megabyte limit that I have on Discord because I don't have Nitro. And I need to start making a proper downloads page for this thing eventually anyway. The CurseForge page is extremely basic right now, so I apologize in advance. It's not very pretty to look at. It will improve with time as we have more things to screenshot, more things to showcase. But yeah, you can now download the pack from there. It's going to be a really neat way of me being able to track the total downloads of the pack, which is something that CurseForge has built in automatically. And yeah, hopefully it's just a better way of keeping up to date with the pack's updates and with the progress in general. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you do want to download the pack, the link to the CurseForge page will be in the description, as it now always will be in the future videos as well. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update for Caelesti. If you have any suggestions or feedback on any of today's showcase, please do let me know in the comments below, or feel free to join the Discord server and join in the conversation. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.